afternoon. Thank you so much for being here sharp. So my name is Inazio Martinez de Arano. I work at the European Forest Institute, leading a team called FIFI, Forest Innovation for Impact. And as one of our, let's say, tools to facilitate innovation, we have the Bioregions Facility that I coordinate, which is a network of regions to share experiences and advance together in bioeconomy. So we look at best practices across different areas to promote the forest bioeconomy. One of them, of course, are tools and initiatives for, let's say, bio-based procurement and timber procurement that we will be discussing today. But we also address other issues related to the implementation of bioeconomy, and we also try to foster innovation, connecting actors in the regions and creating this startup ecosystem, mobilizing knowledge from our research into practice. So today I will be the moderator for this session. I think in the morning we had fantastic overview of all that can be done with wood as a material, and the opportunity that offers to address key societal challenges. We also had a very clear message in terms that wood is very valuable and more and more, so how we need to increase circularity and efficiency. So we have two challenges which are related to each other. One is to increase the use of wood in high added value applications to really tackle societal challenges, among those climate change, but also place-based development, employment generation. But we also need to do this in an increasingly efficient way, implementing circularity principles, efficiency principles, cascade principles. So now I think, I will say that we have a consensus in this. So the question becomes now, how to make it possible? Huh? The opportunities are there. We know what can be done, but how is going to be achieved? What tools work? So this is a small session presenting very briefly some cases on how regions or national governments are looking at this timber procurement, facilitating access to market of innovations, and really scaling up timber construction in this case, as an example, as one of these elements of how to make all the promises of the forest bioeconomy reality.
I'm happy to present the Czech National Wood Policy, which is a new document which has been just adopted by Czech government in June 2024, and it's innovative already in a way that it has been prepared in cooperation of three ministries, Ministry of Agriculture responsible for forest resources, but also Ministry of Industry and Trade and Ministry of Environment. And this task was given us by the policy statement of the government, and it's also task from the state forest policy until 2035. So here you can see the cover page of our document, and in principle it includes analysis of current situation in the forestry sector, in woodworking industry, predictions of future development, SWOT analysis, and then vision, priorities, and goals. Maybe to start with some explanation why we decided to draft this document. One of the major reasons is that we still have, and we had a high share of raw timber which is exported. So the added value of processed wood is rather low. Here there are two charts. First of them showing the export or share of export on harvest. The second one, that's the situation with sawn softwood, which is the major product of our industry, and here is the situation is changing in last years. So until 2020, high share of sawn softwood was exported. Now it's changing a bit, and the sawn softwood is more used or consumed in Czech Republic. What are the priorities? They are rather simple: to ensure a sustainable long-term supply for the domestic wood processing industry, to promote the use of wood as a renewable raw material in relevant sectors, of the economy and everyday life, and continuously increase the production of wood-based products with high added value beyond primary processed wood, so to focus more on engineered wood products, and of course to increase domestic consumption to scale up the use of raw timber. We had to start with some analysis how much wood will be available in Czechia in upcoming years. So we analyzed the situation for 3 next decades, and you can see just simple chart showing that the resources will decrease a bit. Now we are harvesting about 160 million cubic meters per decade, and we will decrease it close to 140 million cubic meters per decade. We will have lower harvest of coniferous species, especially spruce, and a bigger supply of hardwoods. But in the horizon of 30 years, the role of hardwoods will not be so decisive, and we expect big change in the decades to come, because the change of tree species composition is rather slow, and we started, let's say, 30 years ago. And now I would switch to building with wood, which is probably the biggest priority of our new policy. So when we are talking about engineering wood products, we talk mostly about the use of the wood in construction sector. Here you can see example of one building of the forestry company Klobucká lesní, which has been even awarded Grand Prix of Architects in 2023. That's the competition comprising all building materials, not only wood. This is already a rather big building, but you can see that it's rather low, and one reason is that it's still not normal to build because of fire protection limits or rules to build buildings higher than 12 meters. So unfortunately it's translated also into this project. Another example, or what we would like to focus on, is increase in use of wood for family housing. And this is just a small example of, it looks rather modest, but inside of such a house it's very attractive. So our aim is, our goal is to increase the use or share of wood buildings for family housing from 15%, which is current situation, to at least 25% until 2035. Now I get back to that. Sorry, I forgot to say how we would like to reach this change, and we would like to achieve it mostly by communication. That means, for example, in the form of architecture competitions. We would like to change tax legislation, especially property tax, and to favorize buildings of wood, and to provide different kinds of subsidies. Now I'm getting back to this goal to change the height, maximum height of the buildings which are built under normal regime without any exemptions. And we would like to increase it from 12 meters, which is the current situation, to 22.5. And it's going to be the first outcome of this policy, because the change is the fire protection and prevention rules is expected in 2025. We also would like also to focus on use of wood in public procurement, because we think that it should be a big driver of use of wood generally in the society. And for these reasons we developed guidelines on the use of wood in public procurement. It's rather simple document for various kinds of buildings in the landscape, and we would like to develop it more. Other measures in our policy focus also on public procurement. The Ministry of Agriculture and its agencies want to be examples, so our political goal is to use at least the share of 20% of wood in public procurement in the Ministry of Agriculture and its agencies. And I talk about other issues, maybe public relations. We are searching also for ways to pool private and public financial resources to promote use of wood and wood products in society. And just to show you that our document have some reflection also in private sector, you can see some current example of blocks of flats or residential buildings. But I can say that that there are many lobbying platforms, and they are also quoting our new document, which is very positive. Here is one example of such a publication. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tomáš. We can get one question from the audience, if any now. I have one for you, Tomáš. You started saying that let's say the starting point of the regulation was the supply and the increased use of wood for high-end uses. So it was, let's say, Ministry of Agriculture perspective. But then you managed to gather two other ministries. It seems to me that this is the most difficult part. How did you achieve, or what is your experience in addressing other ministries, maybe different angles into the topic?
It was a very, very long-term process. It took maybe 5 years to get Ministry of Industry involved. So we started with some particular examples, as I showed you the guidelines of public procurement. It was also done together with Ministry of Industry, but step by step also linked to that fire protection rules and regimes and standards. We get them involved, and now they are very, very cooperative. And once, for example, Ministry of Environment saw that it has some reflection in the society and it's very popular, they start to be engaged. So that's, that's very important for every ministry to be visible and to be on board.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I want to briefly introduce the Austrian Wood Initiative, which is a funding program for the Austrian value chain in the terms of forestry and wood. We have heard in the morning some numbers of Austria, so I make it short. Austria is rather a small country, but very forested. Nearly half of the area is covered by forests. And also the forest area and also the forest stock is increasing since several decades. And more than 300,000 jobs in Austria are related to this sector. This is, in other words, every 14th job and every 13th euro of the Austrian economic output. But nonetheless, Austria is also facing different challenges, mainly also due to the climate change. We have seen in the years 2018 and 2019 severe bark beetle manifestations and wind throws. That's why the Austrian government started the Austrian Forest Fund to help the forest owners in Austria. And one part of this forest fund is the Austrian Wood Initiative. With these objectives, so to optimize the use of wood, the sustainable use of wood, to secure the jobs within the regions, and also to cooperate on national level, but also on the international level. One lighthouse project, we heard also like a very similar project. It's like we are sisters, so Bavaria and Austria is very same in some concerns. So we have also a funding program for wooden buildings, for the residential construction, but also for public buildings like schools, kindergartens. You can see here also a healthcare building, this child psychiatry, which also could be funded. And this funding regime is on the basis of €1 per kilogram used wood. This can also be enhanced when other sustainable bio-based materials are used for insulation, for example. And still to this day, 5 calls are completed, and we could fund more than 130 projects throughout Austria. Right now the 6th call is open till end of November. I don't know if you want to build something in Austria. There are some good ski resorts. But we are not funding like the private housing. So and besides this direct funding, we have also other measures where we want to improve political and structural frameworks. Also similar to Bavaria, we have a consulting network as a cost-free contact point for any questions about technical issues from architects, engineers, but also private builders. Then we have this also mentioned Bioeconomy Austria, which is gathering different companies in Austria and clusters regarding to the bioeconomy. We have Standardization Center, a Secretariat in Austria. It is very important to also develop and also harmonize the different building regulations. We have in Austria 9 different building regulations with 9 million inhabitants, so there's also a lot of potential for improvement. And our international policy measures, I think I don't have to delve deeper into this because we hear today a lot of these measures which are very important. In the field of research, we have funded 30 research projects with in total 20 million euros on several topics from digitization, artificial intelligence, over circular building solutions, due to hardwood products, for example. You can also scan, maybe also later because I have to go on, this QR code. So we have indicated throughout our initiative that there is also a need to modernize the training and also educational materials. So that's why this Elaboration Wood Laboratory was initiated to digitize these learning documents with a focus on specialist training. And on the academic level, we have funded 3 professorships from fabrication, prefabrication with wood, architecture with wood, and also sustainable materials in the sense of the new European Bauhaus. Right now, a 4th professorship is right ongoing, the call, with engineered wood products for very innovative fields, for example, mobility. This is very important. We heard it before, the information. We have just a few weeks ago started the national awareness campaign, Hey Wald. This is also shown in the television in Austria. We have different cooperations also with the Forest Communicators Network. We have made several films and video clips, brochures. We have every 3-4 months also a network event, so-called Wood Circle, where we want to gather the different stakeholders along the value chain. And this wood letter, we also inform the participants about this. Yeah, last but not least, maybe it's not the focus today, but we have also a measure in the energetic field, so we want also to make this energetic use more efficient. More than 80% of the biomass use in Austria, or bioenergy use in Austria, is with woody biomass, so we have this pilot plant, which is also researching about new developments of biogas and biofuels, and also aligned with this research projects. So thank you very much. This was my presentation. I hope it was not too long. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Here we have a question. Just be to the point in your question. Let's go to the point, and the answer is also to the point.
Yes, so I mean, it's a lot, not to the point. So you also mentioned that you give 10 cents per kilogram insulation with renewable insulations. Can you give some examples of which types that are being sponsored?
This is, for example, straw. This could be hemp. This could be also, it's not a plant-based material, but it could be like the wool of animal wool from sheep, for example. So there are different types of it. There's also grass insulation, I think, also a company in Germany which also like provides this very innovative insulation materials. Yes.
Great, thanks.
Good. Any other brief question? There we have one, and then I have my own.
Hello, Petri Heino from Finland. This support that you give for the use of wood, €1, how come you deal with this European legislation that it's not distorting the market?
That's a very good question. I think we have, this euro is like very, you can, for a presentation, there are other restrictions or how to say framework conditions for in this call. So we have not, I think, the influence to, I don't know how to say, we could not fund all housing in Austria which is wood-based. So we put out some very focused areas, like for example, kindergartens and schools where we want to fund, because we see in Austria, for example, the school buildings are built in the 60s and 70s, which are not anymore very energy efficient. So we have to focus the fund on these projects.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I just last minute changed some of my presentation because I had a lot of examples I wanted to bring here, but I don't want to go into details, but this presentation will be available to you, so then you can go and click on the project to have all this information here. So I would just do some general comments on our wood, on the Swiss wood resource policy that we do have. We have the third policy, actually, that we have had over the past 8 years. The Swiss wood resource policy is a policy that we charge with about 16 million Swiss francs for 4 years. So that's a program that we do have and finance project in different areas that I will go and present through now. Maybe some general comments. Unlike Austria, in Switzerland, we don't have a national industrial policy. So all the industry and policy, this is all the private market. So the federal government doesn't support at this level. But we can support projects, innovation in pre-competitive positions and in business sectors. So on this stage we can work. And how do we do this? We first need a legal basis. So this morning it was addressed. We don't need rules, but we need rules at the federal level when we deal with public money and how we attribute to this money to these projects. So maybe just to start with the Federal Forests Act, we do have the multifunctionality of the forest. So we have sustainable forest management, but also the multifunctionality. So this is also concerning the economic function of the forest. So going from the economic part, we go straight into wood, which is the main product that comes to the private sector. And at this stage, we're in the market. So that's where we can just help or just carry on helping on projects. So having said that, I just come to the boundary of our resource policy. I would like to strengthen here some aspects that have been mentioned this morning. It is of the utmost importance that a policy about wood is set into a wider context of all national policies. We also work with many ministries and agencies. We're currently working with 7 different agencies, ranging from the Energy Agency. We have the Housing Agency with this. We have Agriculture. We have many different, we have the State Secretariat to the Economy. So all these agencies need to work closely together to make it successful. So here you have just this landscape, let's put it that way, of the policy we are seeking here, and the closest interaction is, of course, the forest policy that is rooted in the Forest Act. Coming closer to this wood resource policy, we do have an action plan. The wood action plan has 4 aspects we tackle, and this is where we can help or where we can finance projects in these pre-competitive elements. We have these 4 elements, let's put it that way, going from the root to the crown or to the top of the tree. We have innovation. Innovation goes from research and development to the basics of the forests and wood system. So we try also to finance lots of projects that bring the bridge from the forests into the wood sector. We have product and process innovation, Industry 4.0. The idea here would be to know when you are an architect and you need a beam, where does this beam come from? And the idea would be to be so connected that you would even know where the tree in the forest is, where that wood comes from. So the idea is to bring all these BIM technologies and all these sectors together along the chain to know where it comes. Then we do have the Swiss wood value, added value. So what we want to do here is to strengthen this value chain, develop this into networks, and also strengthen and develop markets for Swiss wood. So this is also interlinked with what's on the top, that's also on communication. But we realize if we discussed this morning that we need to talk together, we need to know who can do what. So the idea is also to precisely make sure that all partners within this added value chain know their role within this. Not only where they can have funds or ideas, but what the role of each partner for the one who's before and after in the chain. Then we have climate appropriate buildings. So this is a very important aspect. We do have climate neutrality at the federal level, like many European countries that want to achieve for 2050. And this is also to increase the use in buildings, refurbishments, and heating along the cascade. So the principles behind it is the cascaded use of wood. And on top of this, we want communication, as highlighted by Austria already. Awareness raising is of the utmost importance. It is important also to communicate to population. We've heard this morning, we heard in this presentation, social pressures. I would say those are social changes, and we have to take these into account also when we work or deal with policies that we want to make effective. They have to be accepted by the people. So awareness raising goes from it's okay to cut a tree in the forest into how can we achieve environmental and natural goals with it. Only a managed forest can bring this multifunctionality and can bring all these ecosystem services for the population. Education and knowledge transfer, we've heard this morning, we need highly skilled people working along the whole chain, and this is also an accent we have to take into account here. And partnerships, cooperation, again, are here of the utmost importance. If we want to have skilled people that stay there, we also have to strengthen the importance of the dual way of having education. The dual way of education, like we have it in Switzerland, ranges, we strengthen both university careers, but also apprenticeship and skills on this level. This is a very, it's really is the color of Switzerland into the education, and this is very effective, basically. So you can make a very good career without having gone to university. That's something we want to strengthen here, and bringing together those two aspects, university and the practical education, is something we have to strengthen even more in future. So I will stop here. There would have been lots of things to say, but here are some thoughts that you ask us to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have one question from Christian, Wales Knowledge, Wood Knowledge Wales. Please go.
I look at your slides and I'm thinking of Switzerland, and it applies to some of the other presentations we've heard today. So I can already see at least 3, if not even 5 different departments and ministries involved. In your case, you'd also have to deal with the cantons, and at cantonal level, again, you've got different ministries, and I think that's the game we're playing, national and regional levels. How do you go about bringing all of those different departments and ministries and the people working in them together to actually go forward in such a program that you've presented?
Okay, I want to range even broader. So you just brought the principle of subsidiarity in a federal state, from the federal, the regions, and then the communities. You have to add also the private sector within, because there are those who will implement or are implementing this or making it functional. So our task, either at the federal or at the regional level, is to set the scene or to make the environment good enough for them to go forward and implement the industrial strategies that are good, in this case, for our environmental policies, for our climate policies, and even biodiversity policies. So this is very important, I think, to bring people at the same table and discuss it. We have now the task to present a new integrated forests and wood strategy 2050 to the Federal Council. This is something that will happen next year. And to do so, we just strengthened looking at sustainability. We did a lot for environmental sustainability in the past years at the federal level. We did a lot also on the side of the social aspects, but we realize we're not economically sustainable if we look at this triangle of sustainability. And bringing this statement to our stakeholders from the industry, but also from nature protection, we had a very constructive and interesting discussion at the same table. So bringing people there and explaining, if we really want to go behind the concept of sustainability, we have to take these 3 spheres as equal, and we have to work where we haven't worked yet. So this is something we do here to bring people together.
Yeah, I'm currently presenting here today with 2 hats on. Oh, okay. First is I'm not working for the NRW Bank, but I was asked to present some nice examples where social housing was funded using this wood construction funding program from the NRW Bank. And I'm here in the context of the State Forestry Enterprise from North Rhine Westphalia. We are linked to the Ministry of Agriculture and Consumer Protection, where forestry and wood is integrated. And I'm presenting you like 2 things. One is as initiative, this Center for Forest and Wood Industry, where the team Wood-Based Industries is incorporated. This is unique in Germany, that in the state forestry enterprise also a team Wood-Based Industries is incorporated. And this is done to support the use of wood and building of wood in North Rhine-Westphalia. Maybe coming back to some numbers, North Rhine-Westphalia is the federal state with the most inhabitants. We have 18 million inhabitants in North Rhine-Westphalia. This means we need a lot of buildings, a lot of housing, also social housing. 27% of North Rhine-Westphalia is covered by wood, or was covered by wood, because maybe some of you know we are also the federal state which was infected the most by the bark beetle attack. high-tech climate change, so we have lost over 60% of the spruce in North Rhine-Westphalia, which changed the forest content or mixture a lot. Now we have just left 18% of spruce together with 18% of beechwood and oakwood, and the birchwood is increasing. So by this Center of Forest and Wood and the team Wood-Based Industries, this is one of the initiatives of North Rhine-Westphalia to supporting a little bit like ProHolz, Bavaria, and maybe in Austria, the use of wood in North Rhine-Westphalia. We do this by 4 pillars. One is the Forestry and Wood Cluster. Here in the Forestry and Wood Cluster, for example, we cooperate on behalf of our ministry with the Bioregions and Inazio. We conduct this for North Rhine-Westphalia. We are doing, for example, the European Wood Forum. We are co-organizing and supporting it also, which is taking place in cooperation with Forum Holzbau in Cologne. We are present at the Ligna. We have a big pavilion there. We are going to fairs for building planners and architects together with associations, for example, the Polis Convention in Düsseldorf. We have a booth on building with wood there with the Studiengemeinschaft Holzleinbau and Informationsdienst Holz, where we have now in the 4th year this kind of booth. We have the pillar wood utilization and wood construction, where we have a platform building with wood in North Rhine-Westphalia, which was started when the refugees came, 2015, 2016. We have there also consultants for building with wood, and it's focused on communal and public buildings. So whenever you want to build, you can get from us a starting consultation, and we follow also up. We have a lot of seminars for architects, building planners, which we conduct yearly here in the center or North Rhine-Westphalia wide. We have this pillar resource efficiency and on material and energy, where we have like also all these topics on circular building with wood inside, but also the really modern energy efficient use of wood for energy or wooden-based energy. And then we conduct also in our center, but with universities in North Rhine-Westphalia, but also Germany-wide or also European-wide, we do research projects on this new material base, for example, since 2021 on the use of birchwood for building products, and we do this completely on the forest, on the wood, on the value chain from forest to wood products. We start in the forest with seminars for forest owners, that they know how they have to treat the birch trees in the future. Now that we have trees which can be sawn easily in the future, and on the other hand we show sawmill owners what is coming up to them. We do sawmill trials, and we also develop the building products. So this is one pillar, this Center Forest and Wood, where North Rhine-Westphalia is supporting this. We are not just a location, we are also a platform, and we have this mission to have this knowledge transfer and the communication. And building with wood is really the pull factor in North Rhine-Westphalia. We have seen this, so when building with wood is increasing, all the rest is also coming. And here you see the initiatives which are also centered in this Zentrum Holz. It's like this platform, building with wood, and also some associations. The Carpenter Association from Westphalia is also sitting in this building. So we have really a concentrated task force there. As I said, we concentrate on new timber constructions. The goal in North Rhine-Westphalia at the moment, we are on a construction rate of 13.4% on building with wood, and of course North Rhine-Westphalia would like to reach the goal like Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg. They like to go up to 20%, so this is our goal, and with all these initiatives we are having, we are on a very good way to reach this goal. We have just accomplished a new cluster study where we have seen that the numbers have risen, and we will present this next year in spring because it has to be terminated. Concerning the NRW Bank is the bank which is 2 minutes? Yeah, I'm very fast. It's the bank which is conducting the funding, the wood funding. It's the development bank for North Rhine-Westphalia. It offers a lot of funding schemes for green solutions, promoting innovation and environmental protection, and also this program for wooden constructions. We have also, maybe like Bavaria and Austria, but we pay even a bit more, €1.30 per kilogram of wood. So, but up to a maximum of 17,000 per residential unit, and important is that it's a significant amount of wood used, that the wood is permanently installed, and also that it comes from sustainable resources. So this is the, because social housing, it applies also especially for social housing, because social housing has to be cost competitive, and with this support, it's possible. It's not just for social housing, but it helps a lot for social housing because it's cost competitive, and with this help, they are able to compensate the so far perceived higher costs for building with wood. Just 2 examples. This is one example of houses what was built with this kind of loan. So there were new built residential buildings, 29 residential units, and 12 of them were funded by this tour. Wooden construction, climate protection settlements. So it's not really big, but it's a nice example. This is also another nice example here, where in a total 11 residential units were funded by this scheme. 500 cubic meter of woodware. Was it cubic meter? Is it possible? Cubic meter, yes. Were incorporated here. So really some nice example how this helps to build with wood. And yes, concerning social housing, we have also on the 3rd December a big conference together with the Association of Housing and Real Estate in Rhineland and the Ministry of Building in North Rhine-Westphalia, where we also promote building with wood.
Thank you, Stefanie. Any question for clarification or comment? If not, I do have a question for you, Stefanie. And we've been discussing before, as Christian asked, about how is to talk about with all these different ministries, with different policy domains, portfolios. So how is talking to banks on wood construction? So how is talking to a bank on giving specific credits on wood, on timber construction? How this started? Why a bank will give specific subsidies for timber building?
It's not us who started it, but our minister from the building ministry. She's very much into building with wood, and with this housing program they started, they also wanted to have something which is supporting the use of wood in housing. And the NRW Bank is the bank from North Rhine-Westphalia, which is, and then you discuss on how funding programs should be shaped and which criteria they should have. So it was started 2020 together with this housing program.
Okay, because it's a state bank, it's a public bank. Yeah. Very good. So this, I think, Jacobo, you mentioned in the morning that the political will is the first ingredient that we need. So here's another example of political will, and it's translated into action of a bank.
I'm going to start in this public commitment that it was expressed by the regional parliament, and the public commitment declared by the regional president of Galicia of include at least 20% of wood in the new building structure. And it was a fairy tale? Not at all. I mean, you know, the first thing you have to do is create this flagship project, and to do that you need to involve a lot of departments, like health service department, for instance, or maybe educational department or agricultural department, and the staff that they are working on, and sometimes they are, you know, they are in the same page. They want to move forward. They want to introduce timber in their new buildings, but sometimes you know they are showing some, I would say, rejection attitude, and not because timber. It's just because it's human condition to don't go out from comfort zone. They get used to, prescribe traditional materials like concrete, like steel. They know very well about that. So if you are introducing a new material, there are a lot of things involved. They have to, to have some training about this new material, about the properties, and sometimes I have to recognize we detected some rejection. But first thing that we did, as Czech Republic, it was created a guide in order to give support to the public departments in order to prepare a public procurement. I mean, I'm talking about, boarded bureaucratic stuff like what kind of criteria you have to include in the technical tender, what kind of criteria you have to include in the administrative tenders in order to promote timber into the construction, and even we learned a lot of past experience in other places about the way to prescribe timber in construction, but it doesn't work in all cases. We realize that we need to step forward and offer our human resources to these departments in order to, to be at their sides during all the process, preparing tender, public procurement, execution phase, and even the monitoring phase. So what we did is, to get agreements with these different departments and offer our human resources, and I think it was part of the solution. It's very good idea to have somebody to call in order to try to solve some questions, and this is what we did. You have some pictures of our staff trying to give support to the personnel of different departments. Moisture, we made wrong decisions sometimes. We learned about the experience in countries like Germany or Austria or Nordics, but they have, something that we don't have in Spain, snow. And in Galicia, we have a rainy weather and warm temperatures during all the year. So the fungus attacks is pretty severe. And sometimes you have to take into account such a kind of things when you bring something in some place and introduce in your country or in your region in that case. But there's another success cases like healthcare centers, educational centers. This is an educational center as well, and another topic I want to stress on is, as I said before, training. We felt as well some rejection attitude from different people, prescribers, architects. Off-site prefabrication is a different way to prescribe. Time of execution will be shorter, but you have to dedicate a lot of time and effort and resources during the design phase, and they don't get used to do that thing when you are talking about traditional construction. So we spend a lot of time trying to training course to prescribers, to employees in construction companies. They don't know how to use this material, and sometimes they are trying to blame this is because this is wood. No, this is because it was not installed in the right way. So we are dedicating a lot of money trying to give some training courses to the employees in the construction companies. We have a web page in order to receive any possible question. We don't care if it's a building owner, an architect, or even a contractor. We are trying to answer from a technical point of view. And we got a lot of public subsidies for industrialization, and as I said before, we are trying to stress on, try to tell the story underneath a beam or underneath a CLT. All the process, all the companies, small and medium companies, that they transform the timber and try to give this information to the society. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jacobo. This traceability tool you have developed, so you know it comes from what forest is fantastic in Galicia. But time is pressing, and there are so many topics to discuss here that we need to choose. I will go into directions. I will ask you to answer in 1 minute. So 1 minute response. So we started with babies because, Tomáš, you started talking about babies when you started. No, Mathias. Yeah. So we have seen all this portfolio you have in Austria, fantastic portfolio of initiatives, education. Now we see trainings, we see loans, credits. What will be your baby? Which one is the one that you will like to cherish and see grow? What is the best initiative you would like to make yours?
I think you always want to improve the things you are interested in and you have passion about, and I think my field is like wood construction and innovation, and I think we have so much very innovative companies in Europe, in every country, and different research organizations, and there's a lot. I have 1 minute?
No, yes, no, I want you to take, for this wood initiative that you have in Austria,
okay.
What is the measure that you like better? Okay. What is the measure that you say, okay, this really is producing an impact? Which one? Is it about education? Is it about credits, loans, subsidies?
I think woodPoP as a whole, like the organization we, together with Finland, established, is one of the most important things.
Perfect.
I think in the
woodPoP, coherent policies across Europe, fantastic. What about Stefanie? I mean, what will be your key?
You know what I'm going to say? It's bioregions. So, yes. I really like it as an initiative and that we are part of it. I mean, not a lot of regions from Europe at the moment part of it. Please come and join us. It's a really great community.
So again, networking regions to regions, looking at innovation together, collaborating in coherent policies, getting the best examples. Fantastic. Any other one wants to highlight, this will be my thing, the best instrument in Czech or in Galicia or in... I have a question for Switzerland in a different dimension, but you can go.
Well, as I said, the combination is always the best anyway. So ranging from bioeconomy, very interesting projects, into even producing products for healthcare, so wound creams and so on. It's very interesting what we can do, but something that was really lacking is the information from science into industry, or from science into implementation. And I really liked the project we had there, where we really, with partners, developed very small videos just to explain what the outcomes of research were for the practice. And this is something that is really lacking. So.
Are you happy with the science-practice interface that you have? Could be improved?
It is something we want to improve. So when we do contracts, now we just ask always systematically that we want to translate this into practice.
Very good. Opportunity for Jacobo, for Tomáš. You also want to highlight what will be the thing to... develop further.
As you can imagine, traceability. Development. Because, you know, in Galicia, there are more than 1,500 companies involved in the wood supply chain. You know, there's 2,700 million of euros of turnover every year. And at least to me, when somebody looks something made in wood, they don't realize that there are a lot of people underneath, from producers in the forest, contractors, and a lot of industry. We suppose just 12% of the industrial labor, 25,000 of direct employments. So it's time to get this information to society.
Okay, so it's about getting the facts and figures, but it's also about trust. Trust versus society, trust with policymakers, trust with the sector in itself, no? Because you can tell the tale with data. Fantastic.
Yes, I agree that combination of tools is the most important thing. And in our case, we need to transfer good practice to, especially to public contracting authorities. That's the group we would like to focus on. So I'm again with public procurement. And it's very important to learn by examples, so to collect examples of successful projects and to offer them to, especially to public contracting authorities.
Okay, so yeah, very good. I think we need the right policy mix here. And coming to policy mixes, Mathias, you mentioned that all these different levels that you presented, inside somewhere there is the cascade principle. But it's something that has come very strong in the morning, efficiency, circularity, cascade. Maybe wood will not come from the forest in the future, will come from the built environment, eventually. So, but I have not heard anything on specific measures for circularity. We are promoting construction, use wood, but are we promoting efficiency, circularity, anything there that is lagging, or what is are you implementing this in practice, the cascade principle somewhere?
Thank you a lot. Yeah, I think we also have to communicate better that wood is per nature like a circular material. It takes up carbon from the air, and it's gonna through this whole cycle, and you at the end you can also use it as an energetic material. So I think there's a lot of potential in it, and but I think we have a lot of challenges, for example, by the engineered wood products, also with glue systems, for example. There is a lot of potential in lignin, for example, to also improve these systems, which is not like directly wood research, but also this combining measures you have to set. I think there's a big potential also in artificial intelligence to use it better. And on the other hand, when we use artificial intelligence and digitization, that the sector is also getting more interesting for young people to get in, I think.
Very good. Any other reflection on this, Jacobo?
Yeah. In Galicia we have eucalyptus stands, and it's a very good timber to create such a kind of platforms to produce mussels. And you can see along all the coast these mussel platforms. So in the end of the life cycle, we have some companies that collect all these beams to produce furnitures. And I think it's a very good story about circularity.
Any question from you? Pressing questions? If not, I will ask you also about maybe contradictions, what can be improved, what instruments is really a headache and you don't recommend it, or is difficult to implement, or anything that you feel that you need to go beyond where you are now, or your dream instrument, whatever you think that is an improvement way forward. How do you see the future of this procurement and promoting timber construction? Anything that you wish to be implemented?
Yeah, from my side, from this harmonization of the federal building standards, this is for me even between Austria, Switzerland and Germany, but between the federal states. And I mean, we are really on a good way now. Bavaria and North Rhine Westphalia have both agreed on the Musterholzbaurichtlinie, the building standard now, and they are going to implement it also, but it's still just 2 states. And then I think this is so hindering everything, and this would be something from, I mean, there are a lot of things I could say, but this is really something, if you talk on the cascade use, building with wood is the highest priority, so this is hindering very often.
Standards.
The building standards, yes, the differences in building standards. We are all building with wood in Switzerland, and it burns the same way if it's in Switzerland or Finland or in Norway or in Spain, but we have all different standards.
So this will increase the market, broaden the market and reduce cost, I guess.
Yes.
Facilitate. Any other dream instrument or?
Maybe in our case, my dream would be that the false perception of wood would be overcome. Like fire protection or concerns, fire prevention concerns, or how to deal with moisture and so on. It was mentioned several times today. Yes.
Yeah, I think one big issue we do have is also looking to the future, with the future forests. Basically, what type of tree would the forest produce in the future? We'll still have softwood, we will have a lot of hardwood, and we need to see how to integrate these new species coming from the forest into an industrializable products, which is not an easy task. So it's adaptation not only from the forest ecosystem, but also an adaptation from the whole value chain that comes with it. And this is not an easy task because it requires a lot of adaptation at different levels, and also how to use the different products that will come out of the forest, because the products will be different, the qualities will be different. So we need also to have opportunities, or take the opportunities of these new assortments or quality products that come out of the forest. So this is something we have to work together with this pressure and expectations from society towards the forests, yes.
Very good. So maybe in the future we could start to see some measures of supporting structures for this transition towards the forest of the future. So in research, you mentioned it, but maybe also in other type of policies, no? Very good. I think we are there in time. I had one more reflection, but I will leave it in the air. Is that all of you are coming from the forest sector or environmental sector, looking at changing the built environment of Europe from the supply side, let's say. And we don't have here anybody on the housing sector. And it's been mentioned also this hybrid construction. So I wonder if for a future event we should try to have here, focus more on this hybrid construction and have the housing agencies looking at their perspective from transforming their built environment into more sustainable. I think could be enriching. So we don't have time to get into this, but I leave it there. And now so time is pressing. Unfortunately, thank you very much to all the speakers.
Thank you so much. I felt doing a conclusion is doing better standing up. You've heard a lot today already about the European Wood Policy Platform, but first of all I would like to give a thank you to the Bioregions for organizing this session jointly with us. It has really been a pleasure. And listening to all the interventions today, I think we've really had a rich overview of what is happening across Europe, and I was very glad to hear that there are some challenges as well that is not working so well. So there is a lot for us to do still. Very shortly on the European Wood Policy Platform, you have seen this graph today already, but one point as it relates to the discussion. So when it says there are 27 countries, it does not mean one representative per country. It means representatives from different ministries, different regional entities. So we have ministries of agriculture, forestry, environment, housing, economy infrastructure, and when the platform was set up, I think one of the big tasks was to identify the people working on wood. So just to further underscore this point, that wood might not have the one uniform voice in Europe it wants to have yet. But what we are doing in woodPoP is really to bring together all the actors across the wood-based value chain. And when I say all the relevant actors, I mean public and private. That includes the representatives from the industry, stakeholder organizations, but also research and innovation. And over the last 6 months, we have come together to produce the policy paper that Georg Rappert, our chair, has briefly presented this morning. And it was an interesting, but I would say very rewarding exercise, because we looked at what a sustainable wood policy in Europe should be, and hopefully will be, from a value chain perspective. We started at looking at the issue really at the beginning, from the supply chain. In woodPoP, we believe that there can be no sustainable wood policy without sustainable forestry management. And Michael, you've underlined that today, the multifunctional roles of the forest. So it, on one hand, of course, the use of wood, but also the protection of biodiversity, and also the social functions the forest has. An important aspect that was highlighted today is really, will we have enough wood available for the buildings we want to construct, but also for other uses? Chapter 2 in the policy paper is circularity. And one key aspect, I think, that differentiates wood maybe from another building material is that you have to think about the circularity from the beginning. So you really have to integrate that in all stages of design and processes and service life to make sure that you can adapt the function going forward and reuse it. Of course, also important wood processing and manufacturing. We've talked about efficiency already today, so that part is also covered there. How can we make it more efficient, more modern, how to use digital tools, and how can we make it more productive as a sector that contributes to the economy. One key area in the policy paper is, of course, construction. It is, one of the, let's say, lighthouse areas for the wood-based sector. It's highly visible, and you can store a lot of carbon, as we've seen today. So really the challenge we've given ourselves in woodPoP is to scale up the use of timber in buildings. And also touched upon today were the obstacles regarding height limitations, but also, fire safety, water, etc. And what we see that in many countries there's still different rules that apply for wood compared to other materials, especially with regards to height, due to fire safety consideration. And then something that is gaining increasing importance, especially on the European level, is the life cycle analysis. How do you measure the carbon that is stored across, the whole process, and not just at the moment of building? Smart and novel uses. We felt that we shouldn't limit ourselves, of course, to construction. There are many uses we had today about the bandages, even, batteries in a car, many things that we cannot even think about today yet. So it's important to have the frameworks in place, and especially to make sure that the innovation can reach the market and can be scaled up. Skills and education, a very important point. To make sure that the sector is attractive, that they have the professionals of the future to work in the sector with the right skills, to know how to use wood, and also to ensure lifelong training that is recognized between the European states. Communication and awareness, I think it has become very clear to us today that we need to get better at communicating the advantages of wood on one hand, but also to communicate about the social acceptance of using wood. That using wood really contributes to storing carbon, to tackling climate change, and that there is an economic benefit in it. And governance, the key part that brings it all together. And I think today we've really heard a lot and great examples about regional, national policy programs and initiatives. And what woodPoP does is bringing these actors together so that they can connect, that they can exchange and collaborate, but bearing in mind, and I think, Jacobo, you made that point, that there is no one-size-fits-all approach, that you cannot just simply take one policy from one country and copy-paste it on the other and be sure that it works. So for this reason, actually, platforms like woodPoP are so important, that you can actually ask your colleagues, your peers, why did you do it this way? Why did it work? What did not work? And that we have discussions today and ask the questions actually like what did not work, to make sure that the next time it does work. Yes, and with this is my quasi-live slide. Here, just an illustration, and here you can find the policy paper. And for those of you who are interested, you can either make the policy paper your own. It's very rich. I think there are some chapters that might be more relevant for you. Take the ones that you feel that speak to you, integrate them in your work. And the other aspect is we have 5 technical working groups, and you can happily join us and then, connect with other colleagues that might have similar questions than you have. Thank you very much.